Hello, namaskar viewers. I am Sanjeev Pandya welcoming you to this week's edition of the Business Talk with AJ. This weekly show brings you all the things that you need to know about business. We have, put in the categories the different businesses where mostly South Asians are in those businesses and what it takes to start that business, what it really takes to run the business, and what should you do to make that business successful and what you should not do to make that business fail. So we discuss all this scenario in this Business Talk with AJ. The show is brought to you by Sai CPA Services, a full-fledged accounting firm located in the state of New Jersey with multiple locations. They can help you no matter where you are when it comes to your personal taxes, corporate taxes, payroll services, bookkeeping services, virtual CEO, CFO, or anything that you can ask for it. Their trained and knowledgeable on-hand CPAs will help you with any tax-related matters or even for IRS tax audits in case if you are being audited by IRS. So all in all, a complete full-fledged professional accounting firm, Sai CPA Services. You can reach them at 908-380-6876 or visit their website, saicpaservices.com. With that note, I'd like to welcome Mr. AJ Kumar, CPA and MBA with Sai CPA Services with over 25 years of experience, joins us every week and gives us his knowledge, shares his knowledge with us and gives us input on the business related matters. AJ, good to have you here.
Thank you, Sanjeevji. Thank you for the kind introduction.
You're very welcome. We are in the first week of September. September
Absolutely.
15th is around the corner.
Yes, the big tax deadline. If you have a flow-through entity,
Yes.
a multi-member LLC or an S Corp, your tax deadline is September 15th. For personal taxes, even though the tax deadline is October 15th, I strongly advise you to try to do the taxes together so you know the impact of your business profit on the personal taxes, because a lot of these flow-through entities don't pay the taxes.
Yes.
The taxes goes into the personal taxes. So if you file the business first, you wouldn't know how much taxes you owe. So try to prepare it together and try to file both taxes by September 15th.
Very nice. So you're going to have a lot of busy schedule between now and September 15th, right?
Absolutely.
All right. As it is, he's a workaholic and he's going to be super workaholic between now and September 15th. But do keep that tax deadline in the mind. With that note, let's go ahead. And today we're going to be discussing about real estate.
Absolutely, Sanjeevji. So, and this week's topic is different.
Yeah.
It's not just about the real estate in general. We know the scarcity of housing market in general. We know the inventory is not there. We know the prices are going through the roof. People are getting more than the asking price. It's getting absurd.
And the mortgage rates are high on top of that.
That's the worst part.
Yes.
Typically, in a real estate market, when you see the mortgage rates are higher, the prices will be lower. When the prices are higher, mortgage rates are typically lower. This is how it's supposed to work.
Yes.
But this is one of those years and it gets worse. Guess what? This is election year. So now we'll be talking about the real estate market in an election year. We'll be trying to compare 2024 versus 2022 versus 2016 and 2012. And how does the real estate market behaves typically in an election year? And how does the election affect it? What happens after the election? And that too, what happens when Democrats wins versus Republican wins? That's what
That's okay. We're going to touch upon that because, like you said, that the house prices are high and the mortgage rates are high. Is the current administration to be blamed for that? We don't know, but we'll find out. Now, as we are talking about real estate and many different aspects of real estate, it would be perfect to have a person who is in real estate and who has a very, very vast knowledge of real estate. So with that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome Ms. Ruchi Shah. She is with Remax First Realty with over 20 years of experience in the real estate. She's a realtor and she will definitely tell us exactly what's going on in the real estate world. Ruchi, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. As you now know, this is the Business Talk with AJ and we talk about businesses. Real estate is a business and you are the realtor. So if I just pick it up from what Ajay just said, housing prices are high, mortgage rates are high. And have you ever experienced this in 20 years that you've been in business?
No, this is unprecedented times. And ever since 2020,
yes,
the housing market has just exploded.
Correct.
It's low inventory and the demand for the housing has increased so much, especially with people being able to work from home and not having to go into the office every day. People can be in different parts of the tri-state area. So we had a lot of influx from New York that increased the demand for housing, and with houses not being readily available,
Yes.
so it just created this boom.
Okay.
But looking at the election side of it, and you said 2020, and that's what sort of triggered this question.
Yeah.
How much of this phenomenon is related to the current ruling party as opposed to just being after the COVID year or just being a market the way
Yeah.
the market is?
That's a really good question. So this year, being an election year, we have seen that the prices are not increasing as much. And mostly because people are not really sure which way the economy is going to go. And because of that, people are a little bit hesitant. They may be wanting to wait to see what happens with the election results. We do anticipate it picking up once either ways people know which direction it's going, but that's the trend for this year.
Well, the indications are that Fed, they're going to lower interest rate when they meet, a few days from now, week or 10 days, whatever it is. They're going to lower the interest rate. But my question to you is since COVID, you said this is how the situation has changed. It's been 4 years. COVID was in 2020. We're in 4 years now, and after COVID, there's a current administration, Joe Biden and his team. Now, are they supposed to be blamed? Because listen, after the COVID, everything went up. All the consumer prices and mortgage rates and everything went up. All the rates and everything went up, and inflation went up. When the inflation goes up, obviously rate goes up. But now inflation is coming down. So my question to you is, let's say, if administration changes, if Republicans come into the power, do you really see the real estate market really, getting on a higher note?
Typically, when the Republican Party comes into office, we get some tax breaks. And due to that, people have a little bit more disposable income. And we see the luxury homes or the higher end homes being more affordable to the people that maybe earlier couldn't afford it.
Good point. Good point. That's a very good point.
I think the first time when Republicans were around, and I'm specifically referring to Trump's government, that was the first time we saw a lot of those tax breaks, and partly they were because of the COVID, special breaks given for that situation. But historically, the tax breaks that we have seen under the Republican governments are much better, much higher for general population than the tax breaks that you will see in a typical Democratic government.
Okay. All right. So let's hope. Now, let's say if it really happens, it's all good conversation that administration changes, rates going to go down. What do we do about inventory? We're not going to be able to come up with that many houses. There's no room, right? All they're building new homes. But I have seen the new homes that they're building, they're only renting it out. They're not selling them. They want to rent out as much as possible because it's better for them. So the inventory is going to be the problem, especially in the Middlesex County, So that is going to be a problem. So it's going to be, maybe it's going to be beneficial overall in the nation, but up here in the New Jersey, especially in this part of Jersey, there's going to be a issue, that's something that we're going to have to figure out what do we do with inventory.
You are 100% right. So the way you want to look at it, Middlesex County is going to become the new city. And the phenomena that Middlesex County is going through right now is the same phenomena that a lot of cities go through. So there is scarcity of inventory. It's New York City. There's nothing more you can build over there. So the prices will go through the roof, and then people will find a way to live near the city and still being able to work in the city. So people will find a way to being associated with Middlesex County's businesses, and yet being able to live nearby in the area where we can still afford. So there will be new train stations nearby. So we have a new train station coming up on Route 1. So that will create a situation when the houses nearby in that area,
they're going to be expensive. They're going to be super expensive.
Of course.
So my question to Ruchi is that, Ruchi, you have seen the surge in housing prices in the last few years tremendously. The house which was worth maybe 300,000, 400,000 a few years ago, now it's worth a lot more than that. Do you see it's ever coming down and coming to a stable point? Do you think it's going to happen?
This is the new normal now.
Ah.
We have to get
Oh,
used
okay,
to it.
there you go. That's
Yes.
a new normal.
I mean, you know, the whole Middlesex County, actually, most of New Jersey is considered a suburb of New York now, like you mentioned.
Yep, absolutely.
So when we see national news and national trends, it may not always apply to us because we here don't see that high and low as much. It just keeps going up.
Okay.
So whenever people that didn't buy in 2020 thinking like, oh, this is crazy, market has to go down, now they're wishing they had bought in 2020. And I think people that don't buy in 2024 may think that same thing in 2028.
Let me ask you a question that when you're in the office and when people come to you, they have money, they have jobs, excellent credit score and everything, and they come to you and say, Ruchi, you know, we want to buy a house on this area, that area, whatever, but we can't find a house. What do you tell them? What do they do?
So the good thing about the way I approach the business is I really try to understand what the buyer is looking for, and I will go scavenge the area. I will go drive around and see, you know, there's many ways to see like how long a person has lived in the house. If they've been there about 30 years, maybe they're ready to make that move. So instead of waiting for the house to come on the market, we'll try to reach out to the seller and say, hey, it's a good time. Do you know what the market?
That's an aggressive approach, right?
You know,
That's
do
a
you
very
know what's
aggressive
happening in
approach.
this market?
Yes.
Do you know what's the value of your house? Hey, I have a buyer that it could work for you.
So it has changed. Instead of buyer coming to you, nowadays most likely you're going to the seller. I mean, instead of seller coming to you, you're going to the seller that you want to sell the house or not. Okay,
A lot of
interesting.
things have changed. There's a new normal around it.
Yeah, I know.
And part of it is just to understand why does the buyer want what the buyer wants. Sometimes people want to live near the school system.
Yes.
If you understand why they want what they want, then you can suggest to them, hey, this is a good school, but so is this. And you can give them the house
Sure.
near another school
You got to
system.
find creative, innovative ways
Absolutely,
to work around
absolutely.
it. Anyway, with that note, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to continue conversation on real estate as we are joined by our guest, Ms. Ruchi Shah with Remax First Realty with over 20 years of experience. And she's giving us a lot of inputs on the real estate. So more to come your way. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the second half of the Business Talk with AJ right here on ITV Gold. And as I mentioned, the show is brought to you by Science CPS Services. We'll talk about Science CPS Services a little bit later on. But now, let's just continue our conversation on real estate. And we are very pleased to have our guest, Ms. Ruchi Shah. She's with Remax First Realty. And with over 20 years of experience, she brings all her knowledge and experience into the studio and shares with us about real estate thing. AJ, you have picked on this topic, real estate. I'm sure that you must have found something interesting about real estate that it needs to talk about because everyone's talking about it. You know, this prior to September, August is the best time to buy the house because people like to move in by end of August, beginning of September because the school started and whatnot, right?
Absolutely. This topic is close to my heart. And as a CPA, as a tax accountant, we have a lot of people calling us, seeking advice as how do we take our net worth to the next level. And when you look at the statistics, more than 90% of the millionaires are made through
Real estate. Yes.
So real estate has always been close to my heart. This is one of my one of the things that I advise to a lot of clients. Especially this year, it has been acting radically. It's irrational. Interest rates are at the highest point. The inventory is not there. Housing prices are so high. People are getting more money than the listing price. That's not common. So I wanted to look into it in detail. And who is better than Ruchi? She's a local realtor right next to East Brunswick in central New Jersey. So I requested Ruchi to come on the show to give us more advice about the real estate market in general in an election year.
That is perfect. You know, all these things that you said for the very first time, you know, the housing prices high and mortgage rates high, everything is first time. And the first time ever since last couple of years, what I've been saying is that when there's a house for sale, right? Outside the house, I have seen from short line to medium line to the longest line that I can see around the house, going around the
100%.
block.
You're right.
I've never seen like that
No,
before.
you're right. You're right. 100%.
This is amazing.
Absolutely.
This is amazing. But
a
anyway.
lot of houses get sold on the open house day.
Yes.
People are writing up the proposal, the offers on the open house.
Imagine the goosebumps, the last guy in the line standing there. What am I going to get this house or not? All these
Absolutely.
people are putting 25, 30, 40,000 dollars more than the
It's
price.
amazing. It's
But
amazing.
anyway, all right. Let's come back to the all seriousness of real estate. Ruchi, a question I have. It's just a news item that I read and I heard, and I just want you to say something about it. There has been some kind of change by the federal government when it comes to the commission for the realtors.
That's true. So starting August 1st, we had two major changes. One is all buyers must have a signed agreement with an agent for them to be able to see a home. And the second thing is that sellers don't have to pay the commission for the buyer's agent. So I just wanted to kind of elaborate about these things. These things have always been here in New Jersey. So for buyers, we always had the buyer's agreement, but somehow it fell to the wayside where we just had this understanding with the buyers, like, okay, I'm loyal to you, you're loyal to me, we're working together to find your dream home. And we didn't always get the document signed, but now it's become a law. And so from our perspective, it's kind of business as usual, but with an extra piece of paper that needs to be signed.
Okay. All right, Ruchi, as thank you for clarifying on that commission part. And as I mentioned that, realtors should be respected and should be appreciated for what they do for buyer and the seller. Now, my question to you is, election is around the corner and everyone's eyes on election besides the mortgage rate. If current administration stays in the power, what do you foresee in the real estate for next 4 years?
So with the Democratic Party, usually they are for the people. They want to make sure the general public is kind of taken care of. So we see kind of like the lower to the mid-range houses having more a boom in that sense. And also they have less tax breaks. So the taxes go a little bit higher.
That makes sense. So typically we have seen, Sanjeevji, the tax breaks are a function of Republican government as opposed to the Democratic government. Even though the interest rate, I believe, will go down, it doesn't matter which government comes in. The interest rates will be going down. Right now the interest rates are probably the highest this country has seen in quite some time. But that being said, as Ruchi pointed out, the low cost housing prices, there will be more competition over there. More people will be buying that house because those houses typically go higher in value. More people can afford it, more people will buy it, so the demand will be higher as opposed to the mansions, where a lot of people wouldn't be able to buy those houses if the Democratic government comes back, and then those prices should go down.
If that happens to lower cost housing, then what's going to happen to low income housing? Because that's two different things, right?
Right.
Low income housing, where government really supports potential buyer to buy a house. Low income housing gives all kind of benefits, whether federal benefit or state.
Low income housing is a function of Democratic government. Typically, Republican government is not known for a lot of these low income housing or a lot of these benefits that are given out to a lot of people.
Correct.
Or not going there. Illegal immigrants is a situation of the Democratic government as opposed to the Republican government. So the low income housing will see more support if the current government
Under
is to
Democratic
come as opposed to
administration.
the Republican government.
All right. So what if Republican administration comes in power now? Then what do you see?
So on the flip side, they have more tax breaks. So people have more disposable income. So where they could afford X, now they can afford Y. So that's why we see the higher price range homes being more sought after.
Well, it makes sense because, like
Absolutely.
you say, the 90% of this, countries, millionaires or multimillionaires or billionaires, they
Absolutely.
have built their wealth in one or the other way from real estate.
So the interest rate going down, Republican government coming in, more tax incentive, people will be able to afford a much higher price than a lower price. If somebody can afford 400 now, they can afford 500
Yes.
with that situation. So
And
the
I know
affordability increases.
affordability is going to be there, and Ruchi is saying the same thing. So you're looking forward to have Republican administration.
I mean, either ways,
Yeah.
either ways, people will know which way the economy is going, which way the country is moving forward. So that once that uncertainty lifts, then people are like, okay, chalo, ghar dekte hain.
Very good.
Absolutely. So it's not as much as it's about Democrat and Republican government, Sanjeevji. A lot of it is about eliminating the uncertainty. Once one government comes in, a lot of people who are uncertain, who are holding on to the cash, holding on to the resources, then suddenly they will be in the market.
Exactly.
So you will see some traction in the real estate market, irrespective of whichever government comes in, because the uncertainty is not there.
Okay, we'll see what I find out, because I know, Ruchi's husband, Neil Shah, he believes in the Republican Party's agenda. He has, ran for the position also in the state of New Jersey. So as we are saying it, that Republican can bring a lot of change in the real estate, it could happen. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Let's move on to the taxes, real estate and the taxes. You always want to talk about tax angle, because of course, you're from Science CPA firm.
As much as you want to become a millionaire by investing into real estate, you have to be tax smart about it. You have to understand what are the tax implications of buying and selling this real estate market. You have to know the difference between the short term and capital gain tax. अगर आपका सारा पैसा टैक्स में चला गया, so you will never be a millionaire. So you have to plan it properly. You have to see, I'm making this investment, but what's the tax angle? How much do I have to pay? So just a quick example, a short-term capital gain could be as much as 37% tax right now. A long-term capital gain cannot be more than 20%. So you see the difference, 37 versus 20. So if you do it smartly, and the only thing is, how long did you held this property? Was it more than 1 year? Was it less than 1 year? So if you are on the closing table, if you are selling the house, see when you purchased it. If you can delay it for a week or two to save 17%,
That's a lot.
why should you not?
That is a lot.
Why should you not?
So short term, you mean that around 6 months or less than a year?
1 year.
1 year.
It
And
has to
long
be
term
less
is after 1
from the
year.
buying date, closing date to the closing date,
Okay.
buying date to the selling date. If it's less than 1 year, it's a short-term capital gain.
Okay. I want to touch upon this, see if any one of you can talk about this. Commercial real estate. Right now we have talked about residential real estate, inventory and mortgage rate. Commercial real estate, I think there is going to be an issue that somebody is going to have to take a hard look into it, because after pandemic, there is a work from home concept which became very successful. A lot of commercial spaces have so much vacant spaces. I mean, all these buildings, slowly by slowly, they're going to be asking their employees to come back to the office and work and whatnot. You have anything that you can shed light on commercial real estate?
So yeah, a lot of the people that own the buildings, they are being creative of like how can they get some money back by maybe like leasing it out to other corporations, or some people that maybe a lot of businesses started consulting people. They may not have an office of their own, so kind of like those work pods that they can come and just rent it. But in terms of like other commercial property, those are also going at a higher price. So like warehouses, or like people want to open daycares, things like that, those property prices have also increased.
I think we also have to know, Sanjeevji, so when the fire starts, it doesn't really know which tree to select. So when the housing market becomes booming, so does the commercial market, meaning they go hand in hand a lot of times. And as you rightly said, once people starts coming back to these offices, the demand for the commercial market should go up. So not only is high already, if anything, the commercial market will be even heating up further, only because a lot of people are looking for new ways of doing business. A lot of people are not appreciating the job, 9-to-5 job. They want to do, as Ruchi rightly said, a daycare center, a homegrown center, a new business idea. So the commercial market is expected to continue to heat up.
Okay, very well. So that says it all when it comes to residential and the commercial real estate in this episode. Ruchi, if I may ask, where is your office in the state of New Jersey?
So my office is in East Brunswick,
Right.
but we have 4 or 5 offices that is owned by my brokerage.
Okay. All right.
All
And
throughout.
hopefully we'll have your number on a screen so that way our viewers can relate to it. Okay, and I just want to let everybody know that of course we are in month of September. As you heard from AJ, September 15th is a deadline, October 15th is a deadline, depending upon the extension you file, depending upon what entity that you have, LLC, corporation, and whatnot. Okay, but then after October 15th or before October 15th, make sure you sit down and you look at your own portfolio to see that, you know, where are you and where you're going to end up by the end of December. The reason I'm saying is that because you can save taxes. I'm not saying that you don't pay taxes. You can save taxes by investing money into several different plans, which allows you to invest the money so that way you can save money on your taxes, and Sai CPA Services and their knowledgeable staff can exactly guide you and navigate you in the right direction. But you must do it now. You start planning it now, and it must be done before end of December. As AJ always says, don't wait till the last minute. So please take a look into it now and give Sai CPA Services a call, 908-380-6876, or visit their website, saicpaservices.com. AJ, anything else in a closing remark?
Well, just as you rightly said, Sanjeevji, a few minutes spent before the end of the year can save you thousands of dollars. It's all about planning, tax planning. We get a lot of people doing the tax season. What can I do to save taxes? And I politely tell them it's too late. You should have come last year. You should have come before the year end. So the fourth quarter, October, November, December, is the tax planning season. So don't forget to check with your accountant, check with your CPA, what else can be done before the year end.
All right, Ruchi, now it's your turn. Anything you'd like to say in the closing in 30 seconds?
So doesn't matter which party wins, it's always now is the time to buy the home, because we don't know what the future holds, but we know what it is today. And if we plan properly with, you know, AJ's help and all the mortgage lenders, realtors, we can really help you, and don't wait.
Very good. All I can say in the end, it doesn't matter which party comes into power, but if you want to buy a house in a certain area, all you need to do, have patience. Have patience and continue to look for it, and maybe your dream house will definitely come your way. With that note, I am Sanjeev Pandya, wishing you all happy and smiley days ahead. Until we meet again, same place, same time. Do take care of yourself. So long.